We're back once again with another episode of the Cruise Line Crash series, you know, the series where I go over my fan-made Pvz2 world, based off of the Titanic. And, you guys seem to enjoy the first episode. I got quite a few comments saying, like, or not like quite a few, but I got some comments saying, like, this is cool, can't wait to see what's next and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys are actually enjoying this, series. This part isn't scripted, as you can tell. But regardless, today we're actually going to be discussing the first wave of world plants. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, most of the Pvz2 worlds were released in two waves, usually a part 1 and a part 2. And in the first part, you would have the first 3 or so plants, and then quite a few zombies, but not all of them. You'd have like the first set of zombies introduced. Big Wave Beach, Neon Mixtape Tour, Dark Ages, basically every world past far future was released in this manner. And so that's how I'm going to be going over the plants and zombies of this world. In this video, we'll be going over the first 3 plants, then the next video we'll be going over the first set of zombies, then the video after that we'll discuss the second set of plants, and then the second set of zombies and whatnot. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the first 3 plants of this world. Now, before I get into discussing the plants for this world, I need to discuss the world's main gimmick. And that being that there's a pool in the middle. Laid out like this. This isn't exactly how the world would look, I just don't have any art for that, so this is just a mock-up. Anyways, besides obviously needing aquatic plants to plant on the pool, an important gimmick of this pool is having control over the temperature of it. And let me tell you what I mean. Using certain plants and zombies in this world, you can actually change the water tiles in the pool to have different effects on the plants/zombies that enter them. These different tiles are chilled water, which chills any zombies that step on that water tile, boiling water, which will damage any zombies that are standing in the water, freezing water, which chills any plants on those tiles, and burning water, which burns and damages any plants on those tiles. Basically, throughout this world, it's a constant battle against the zombies to keep control over the pool. If you're not careful, you could just as easily have your entire aquatic attack force be grinding to a halt, or, you know, destroyed completely with fire, as you could have all the zombies be slowed down and making them much easier to deal with, or, you know, quickly grinded into a paste with the boiling water. It really just depends on how you play your plants and how you deal with the zombies, as there's certain plants that can create these water tiles, as well as certain zombies that can. So let's get into the plants. The first plant unlocked in this world is Iced Tea. She's a 75 cost plant that's part of the Wintermint family. When placed, Iced Tea turns all the water tiles in a 5x5 radius around it into chilled water tiles, which chill zombies, slowing their movement down in the pool. Additionally, it can of course be planted on water without need of a lily pad. It'll also remove any burning water tiles that have been created by zombies in that 5x5 radius around it, replacing them with chilled tiles. For only 75 sun, this plant is a really good way of stalling a huge group of zombies that are coming, since the pool takes up most of your lawn in this world. It just makes a really good way to slow down the entire horde. Not to mention it has a few extra benefits. Zombies that are currently eating an iced tea will be chilled and periodically frozen while doing so, making them take quite a while to eat the one plant. This is enough stalling to give you a good chance to defend the iced tea with an instant killer or a plant food if need be. It also gives it a niche use outside of this world, since you can place it down on land and have zombies eat it and be constantly frozen and chilled, making it act sort of like a defensive plant, especially since it has a little bit more health than the average plant. When this plant is given its plant food, it will create giant icicles surrounding it in a 5x5 radius, heavily damaging and freezing all zombies that they hit. They'll then explode, creating little iced water tiles in their wake. This makes this plant not only usable within its own world, but actually usable outside of the world, since it creates water tiles with its plant food. It's not the only plant in this world to create water tiles, as I'll both demonstrate one later in this video, and one in the next plant video, making these plants, while they seem restricted to this world, they actually have their uses outside of it. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, we have boiling tea. I'm gonna be honest, this section's probably gonna go by pretty quick. Boiling tea is a 75 cost plant that's part of the peppermint family. As you might be able to guess, boiling tea creates boiling water tiles in a 5x5 area radius around it, you know, The exact opposite of iced tea, which makes the chilled tiles, boiling tea makes the boiling tiles. It's pretty self-explanatory. Also, I don't show it doing that in this render, but it does do it in the 5x5 radius. It took me an hour to copy and paste all the chilled water tiles for the last one, so I really didn't feel like doing that again. Just use your imagination. The boiling water tiles will be around it in a 5x5 area. These boiling water tiles do a decent amount of damage, but it's not exactly your main defense. It acts well as a good support to all zombies that enter the pool. It's enough to kill a conehead if it starts at the front and gets all the way to the boiling tea, but that's just barely enough. You're definitely going to need more support than just this plant. When a zombie is eating boiling tea, they'll take residuous fire damage. Basically the same way that happens with torchwood. When a zombie's eating torchwood, they take fire damage. Same thing happens here. It's not a lot of fire damage, but it can act well as a good way of defending the plant. You know, you're still gonna need more support to defend it, just like iced tea. You could see the similarities between these two. They're very connected. They're actually so connected, in fact, that you can place these plants on top of each other to swap them out instead of having to shovel them and then place another one. Basically, like, you can place an iced tea on top of a boiling tea to swap all the water tiles around it into the boiling ones from the ice ones, and vice versa. You get the gist there. Also akin to iced tea, boiling tea removes any freezing water tiles in the 5x5 radius around it when planted. These two plants sort of act as counters to those water tiles created by zombies, which makes both of them good to bring in this world. When given plant food, boiling tea acts very similar to iced tea, creating geysers in a 5x5 radius around it that push back zombies and damage them heavily. They then leave boiling water tiles in their place. Again, very similar to iced tea. Basically, these two plants are like yin and yang. They're exact opposites of one another, which makes bringing them both into a cruise line crash level a very good idea, albeit it takes up a lot of space. The two different tea plants are key to keeping control over the pool in Cruise Line Crash, as zombies are going to constantly be creating burning and freezing water tiles that try to damage or chill your plants. So you gotta counter them back with the right tea types. Sort of a similar idea to Zomboss's original boss fight from the first PvZ game, where you had to use jalapeno to counter his ice balls and like ice stream to counter his fireballs. It's a sort of similar idea. That's part of where the idea came from, actually. If zombies create burning water right up onto your defenses, you gotta place down an iced tea to get rid of that. And if they create freezing water in your defenses, slowing down all your attackers, well, you gotta place a boiling tea to clear out those. It's a great sort of micromanaging system that is a big, important part of this world that I think is really cool. Lastly for this video is the only attacking plant in this world, Rotato. Rotato is a 275 cost plant that's a part of the armament family. As you can see, this guy's expensive, but you're about to find out why. Rotato attacks zombies by flicking the disc around its body straight at them. It flicks these discs a little bit quicker than a level 1 Peashooter, but also does a little bit less damage than a Peashooter, so it equals out doing about roughly the same overall. Now, on its own, that doesn't sound very good, so how come this plant costs 275 sun? Well, for that, that's what happens when a zombie gets behind it. Notice that little radiation symbol on the side of its head? It's not there for no reason, because when a zombie's behind it, it will rotate itself around, and, well...
Tactical nuke incoming!
I don't know, you think we got him? Basically, to summarize, if a zombie is behind Rotato, it'll rotate itself around and fire out its massive projectile that strikes the zombie and explodes in a 3x3 area. Basically equivalent to the Cobb cannon, except you can't really control it and it only attacks the ones behind it. But this can be a very deadly attack, especially considering it can also attack zombies in the lanes above and below it, targeting them, meaning it basically has full coverage of the field, more or less, at least behind it. This plant is absurdly strong at dealing with zombies behind it, so stuff like pterodactyls, prospectors, and even a few zombies in this world are very easily dealt with thanks to Rotato. When given plant food, Rotato will target the column with the closest zombie to it, and fire its projectile, which will destroy all zombies in a 5x5 radius around the projectile. This will also target zombies closest to to your lawnmowers, basically. Closest to your house. Meaning if there's zombies behind it, it will also target those. The closer a zombie is to the back, the more effective it's gonna be. Basically, if a zombie is close to the back of your house, this will target it first. Yeah. So yeah, those are the first 3 plants of this world. I gotta say, the artist, Quake No Cake, did an amazing job on these plants, even though I had them draw it about 2 years ago at this point. This project has been in the works for quite a while, but I'm really happy I can finally share these plants out to you guys. They're really fun to design, and coming up with these concepts has just been a lot of fun. I'm really proud of this world. Oh, I should mention, before I get any questions about it, with Sir Fry being the premium plant of this world, he's got to have, some sort of connection to this world. I mean, obviously, he's got the fire, but I should mention that his fire wave attack will actually remove freezing tiles created by zombies if it's hitting water. It's niche, but it does in fact give it some usefulness in the world. You can use it to pretty much clear out any freezing tiles that are created in the pool if you place it right. But yeah. Those are the first set of plants for Cruise Line Crash. I guess I'll see you guys in the next episode where we'll cover the first set of zombies. Until then, see ya!